Hi, I'm Mariano Alvarez. I'm the co-founder and chief science officer here at Avalo.
Hi, I'm Brendan Collins. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Avalo. And
today we're answering all the questions we normally get about Avalo. We're really getting into the weeds.
We're really getting into the weeds. I get it.
You get it. Plant breeding is really fundamentally about genetics, and there's just a huge amount of genetic data. In plant breeding, in plants in general, there's, billions and billions of base pairs that need to be read and interpreted. And when we do that with artificial intelligence and machine learning, the process of interpreting that data and making decisions with that data becomes way, way faster and also way cheaper.
The same way ChatGPT would be trained on the internet, and you can ask interesting questions of it. We train our AI models on the plant genome. So we train it on the cotton genome so we can ask really interesting questions like what plants would we combine to breed the most drought-resilient crop? So when we really want to be able to understand what is going on in the genome and how all that data interacts in a really complex way, there isn't a better tool than AI for this. I think evolution is the most powerful force in the world, but it takes a really long time to get there. The rapid evolution platform is important just because of the sheer scale and size of problems facing agriculture. And the current tools really just don't deploy solutions at any sort of meaningful rate. So we are taking the variables that affect evolution and tweaking them to get an outcome much faster than you would be able to in nature.
We're actually just trying to harness the natural process here of crossing and new trait development and selection in nature. A traditional breeding program will run for anywhere between 8 and 12 years before getting to an outcome, and we really want to bring that down to somewhere between 3 and 5 years. And that allows us to be much more proactive about creating varieties that can be resilient to the climates that we're actually seeing.
I think that it's pretty natural to look at AI and be pretty freaked out by it. But the way we're deploying AI is to learn and make decisions and then getting out of nature's way.
It allows us to have an even more natural breeding process than traditional breeding or genetic modification because we can allow nature to just go through the motions that it would normally do. We can take a step back and let bees pollinate our plants and let reproduction happen the way it would in nature and interpret it using machines.
At its simplest, Avalo just creates better genetics, but this can take many different forms. We can work with seed companies to make better IP for them, as we've done in tomatoes. We can also make better seeds for farmers, like we've done in broccoli. But in some cases where we see the opportunity, we can actually make better products, like we're doing in cotton.
In cotton, we can actually take product all the way through. When we see that it's possible to innovate at multiple steps in the supply chain, and that allows us to not just capture more value for ourselves, but also return more value to the growers themselves.
Yeah, so sometimes we like to make fun buzzwords internally, and so we've started to throw around economical because so many people are talking about sustainable agriculture, and that usually involves asking farmers to buy something new to put on their fields. And that's really asking farmers to be superheroes, where they're actually business people and they're looking at their bottom line every single day. So we're really focused on solutions that increase farmer profitability while being good for the planet.
Ultimately, applying less nitrogen or applying fewer herbicides and pesticides helps their business. And so if we can just enable them to be both more environmentally sustainable and more economically successful, that is a win-win for the growers, and that ends up being a win for the industry. We wanted to work on big problems. Cotton is this incredible natural fiber that is in everything, but it is really resource intensive, not just from a nitrogen and water perspective, but also from an herbicide and pesticide perspective.
We want to restore cotton as the most beloved natural fiber on the planet by drastically reducing its carbon footprint and increasing the fiber characteristics.
Sugarcane is also this just amazing crop that produces so much energy in the form of sugar that we use in our daily lives, but it has this incredibly sophisticated genome that has been very, very challenging to understand. So for both of these crops, if we can make a difference for growers that haven't seen as much investment in their industry, that allows us, we think, to have an outsized impact on environmental outcomes, but also outcomes for growers. The scale of our mission just requires us to work with users of agricultural products and purchasers that have the ability to reshape their whole supply chain. So in sugarcane, that's Coca-Cola Europe Pacific, one of the largest sugar purchasers in the world. Ultimately, working with this type of large multinational corporation allows us to bring the impact back to the market and to the supply chain faster than we would ever be able to do otherwise.
With sugarcane, we had this opportunity to tackle this crop that historically is overlooked by the big seed companies because it's hard to work on and because it has this big footprint. But this is the exact kind of problem that we want to lean into and use our rapid evolution platform to solve in a really short period of time.